I'm Meaghan.
I'm Christy.
And I'm Auntie B. And we are
Homebrew
Murder Crew.
Because you didn't get to say it last time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to give you the
opportunity. Thank you.
We just kind of don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah, we honestly,
We
it's
kinda
like
do.
kind of us fly by the seat of our pants.
You guys, we made wine. We have to. We know what we're doing a little bit.
We did make wine.
We did for the first time in over a year.
Over a year.
Yeah, it's been a bit
For sure.
Definitely.
I know.
Well, because I mean, I think it's the last time we made wine when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, 9 months plus 7 months equals 16 months at least.
Gosh, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Which is like a year and almost a half, maybe. I don't know math.
A year, almost. Yeah, a year and 5 months.
Also, I apologize for my mess back here. I am cleaning my room and I am separating things, but I also found downstairs in storage, I found my old velveteen rabbits.
I was going to ask because they're a pair and I love them. They're
like this one girl. Let me show you, okay? Oh, sorry, moving the chairs. Let's do that. This one girl, she's so like gothic looking. She's amazing.
Wow.
She's beautiful.
beautiful.
She's very yellowed. She needs a bath.
Very
I don't know
soft,
how to wash
very
her.
soft. I know you can't feel it, but I mean, if you could, you'd be like,
Oh,
oh,
it kind of
that's soft.
stinks, but I sprayed this like kennel deodorizer stuff on her, like from the vet
Yeah,
clinic.
she's aged. She can be cleaned up.
Yeah, but look at her little
She's beautiful though.
leotards and yeah. So
It's not creepy either because it's not some creepy life-size doll like my mother has.
True.
Mother.
True.
Mother creepy ass doll that's all life-sized.
So welcome to our microbrew. Yes, we did do wine tonight.
Yep.
So you guys will obviously see clips, if not.
You'll probably see the whole
full
video, yeah. Like we
yeah.
can put the whole video on Patreon.
Of
at
course.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys want to sit and
we
watch
should.
the whole thing.
We should, because it's how to make wine.
Exactly.
So we should do that.
And
we
if you notice that we're
haven't
doing
done
it wrong, you can tell us. We might not listen, but you can tell us, and we'll
if you have
attempt.
any tips or tricks, or maybe we can make like somehow. We should figure out how to make marijuana infused wine.
I can do that. I can do that.
Okay.
I can take that.
Write
you know
that
what?
down.
Mary Jane.
Do you need some more light
wine?
there? Ooh.
Yes, thank you. Oh, not that anybody needs to see my scribbling because it's not very nice right now. But I am going to I did put Mary Jane wine. That's something I can do for sure.
Does that make it better for you for writing? Like if you
100%. So long as we're good with the light on this thing.
On us,
I also keep looking at us, and I don't look at the.
I gotta look at the camera.
Hey everybody! Sorry, I'll remember that you guys are there.
Yeah,
and just stop looking
it's
at myself.
hard not to look at yourself because you're like constantly figuring out what you look like.
You
so.
doing?
Yeah.
Anyways, what's going on?
Yeah.
I have a microbrew for you guys today.
Scooch over to you. Closer.
Yeah, microbrew
In the house.
All right, guys.
Bubbles. Looks like I'm diddling balls.
Diddling balls.
Diddling balls.
Diddling balls.
Diddling balls. I am so sorry.
I'm not. I'm not sorry. I apologize for nothing. Meaghan, back to you. Oh, we're there already. Okay. Figure it out.
All right, guys. So I'm bringing you a microbrew today. You might be familiar with this case. I think a lot of people are. We even talked about it today. But
how do I not remember what we talked about already today?
I mentioned it earlier today.
It's been like an hour.
Like, was I here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, in 1966, Grant, who went by the name of Jim.
Beaumont.
Grant, who went by the name of Jim.
Jim. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Because he can.
Yeah. Anyway, Grant, Jim, so Jim Beaumont, and his wife, Nancy Beaumont, lived in a modest home in Somerton Park, a suburb of Adelaide, South Australia.
Is this the same area as a Somerton man?
Oh my God, that's part of my, yes, it is. So I actually did the research.
This is
and
exciting. This
discovered
is
that where this takes
episode.
place is a 7-minute walk up the beach to where they found the Somerton men.
Oh my God. Yeah. Did I just blow your whole episode apart?
No, I didn't even write it in the episode. That was like a thing that I was like a fun fact I was just going to mention.
This sounds familiar.
Yeah. This is not the story of the Somerton.
And if you guys are like, we did cover this in a Christmas special like 2 years ago. Maybe?
Yeah, this is like
maybe our first Christmas special.
Yeah, I think it's our first Christmas special.
Think,
like
the Somerton men. Yeah.
Yes,
we did.
Like briefly.
Yeah.
But
this is not the Somerton.
Yeah, we had done like a Christmas thing of all these little clips and everything.
No, I know it's not the Somerton men.
Yeah, but that's actually, it's crazy that, anyways, the parallels between that case and this one are insane. Cuts. They actually lived in Somerton Park, a suburb of Adelaide in South Australia, with their 3 children: Jane, who was 9, Arna, who was 7, and Grant, who was 4. By all accounts, the Beaumonts were a seemingly ordinary family. Jim Beaumont was
until they weren't.
Thanks, Keith Morrison. Keith Morrison
guy.
Over here.
I just love that guy.
I love him too.
I'm gonna be so
I wish
sad.
he was on the cruise that I shared with you guys.
Oh, yeah. I would be there.
Oh my God. Well, we'll have to share some info on that for you true crime fans out there. There's a really neat cruise, but we'll get to that. Digress for now.
Jim Beaumont was a World War II veteran and worked as a traveling salesman. His wife, Nancy, was a stay-at-home mom. They lived in a quiet residential area not far from Glenage Beach, which is a 7-minute walk from Somerton Beach. The 3 children were described as well-behaved and relatively shy, especially Jane, the eldest. However, reports suggest that they were also happy, outgoing, and enjoyed playing with the other children in the neighborhood. While there is no indication of any significant problems or dysfunction within the family, some accounts do suggest that Jim Beaumont was a strict disciplinary, and however, that is not confirmed, and it's important to remember that that's just one perspective.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Meaghan, are you an eldest child?
I am a youngest child.
Okay. I feel like eldest children are generally a little shyer.
Yes.
Or are kept to themselves. Because
that, you know what? That is correct. You only have the one brother.
Yeah, and he's older.
And you only...
I have 2 brothers.
Okay, but you grew up thinking you only had one brother.
Yes.
Okay.
I
grew up with an older sister. And my friend Melissa, hey Melissa, she is the youngest of 2 as well. And the dynamic is always that the eldest is a little bit shy and like you know, a little bit emotional.
At least
and
not
the
shy,
youngest,
but like very like grounded, down to earth, and in tune with themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily shy, like they can still be
introverted.
Introverted.
Yeah,
good word.
The youngest are rebellious and crazy and just like fearless.
That's accurate.
My stepchildren are exactly like that.
Yeah.
But that is like a common dynamic between relationships
crazy.
Where you grow up with
and
2 children in the household.
It's also really, like, it's really strange because like I've had a brother that's 13 years older than there's always been a large age gap, but recently this year I've had another brother come out of the woodworks and he's actually closer to my brother in age. Like he's the middle child. So he's 2 years different from my brother, who I'm 13 years different of. So I'm 11 years different with this new brother. So and when we all get together, which we have, and you know, it's been lovely getting to know them. They're actually here next weekend too. It is this weird dynamic. Not only do I have 2 much older brothers than I am, but they also both share the same dad. And then I'm still the odd one out in that boat.
So here's my question. Does he have any other siblings outside of you and your brother?
Well, yeah. So him and my brother would share siblings on the dad side of it.
Okay. So I'm thinking in terms of like, the separation of your guys' family. Is he then the oldest?
No,
child?
He's still the middle.
He's still the middle. Okay.
Because my brother was born 2 years before he was.
And what's the middle child dynamic? Unhinged? Like, I don't know.
I will let you know because I'm still getting to know him.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had no idea there was a middle child. So I didn't feel it. That's weird.
That's
concerning.
Maybe
but I'll keep you guys posted on that for sure.
Cool.
Now that there is a middle sibling in my family.
Yeah.
Can I mention how he reached out to you?
Oh yeah, there was a couple of different ways he reached out, but go ahead, you can mention.
Oh, okay, so one of the ways actually that he reached out to Brittany was through Homebrew Murder Crew.
Our email.
Yes,
Our email. I got the
Which
email
is
at work one day.
homebrewmurdercrew@gmail.com, just so you guys know.
I got the email when I was at work one day. I seen an email come up on notification on my phone, and I was like, oh, it's a homebrew email. Like, weird.
Yeah.
And so I read it, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And so before I even sent anything to Brittany, I searched this person, and I was like, I thought it was a female.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
confusion on what the hell was going on. I knew things,
Yes.
and I knew that it was.
And I knew you knew things ahead of that.
Yeah, so there's a part of me that was very grateful that I
Yeah.
was the one he reached out to. But yeah, it was through our email. And after you had sent me that, I was like, well, it's really weird that he discovered me, but email me through our podcast.
Right.
So I looked, and you know how Facebook does the whole when you get a message from someone you don't know, it goes into that special.
Yeah.
And you have to go into
yeah.
it. So I went and I looked, and he had sent me a message there as well.
Okay.
But luckily I was able to send Mom, what she
Yeah.
needed to know, and how authentic I thought it was based off of what he had told me. Because he was an open book when he reached out. It was just like, I'll say verbal diarrhea, which was amazing, which is great because we confirmed it, and it all worked out the way that it was supposed to work out. Also not the first time. It's if you don't mind me hijacking this for a minute, that message, just getting that message, and like, oh my God, this one little text message, just one little phone call, this one little email is life altering.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times in my life I have had an instant like that where it's just like you're going about your normal ass fucking day, and everything is normal, and the ground is right under your feet. And then all of a sudden, in a matter of a split second, your life is completely changed. Now, I know
there's
there's
pulled out from under.
I know there's a lot of people out there that probably have examples and stories of that, and most of them are life changing. If you want to share those with us, we would love to hear them.
If you know anybody who would like their story told, please share.
And just to like make you guys feel a little bit safe, I will, in a real fast manner, tell you the biggest one that ever changed my life, and it was the Sunday that my dad called me. And he called me. I missed his call. It was a Sunday. I called him right back because it was weird that he was calling me. I was like, this man never calls me. What the fuck? Yeah. And he blew up my life by telling me that he was a pedophile who was being arrested by the RCMP. And then he gave me a whole cock and bull story that ended up not being true. Long story short, he went to prison for a year for being a pedophile. Maybe one day I'll get into that story with you guys. But I mean, that was all in a split second.
Yeah.
Getting that message in a split second, life was changed for my mother, my brother, and I. Yeah. And, we want to, if you're comfortable sharing your examples of that, put that email to use. And that was homebrewmurdercrew@gmail.com. We would love to hear your stories.
And you can be anonymous too.
And you can remain anonymous.
But I find that in listening to other podcasts do listener stories like this, it's therapeutic for you sometimes.
Absolutely.
Just to write it down. And
as somebody that has dealt with having to come to terms with my dad being a pedophile and finding out the way that I did, the best thing I have done in the 6 or 7, however many fucking years it's been now, I've lost track because I don't care. It has always helped to talk it out.
But I think the craziest takeaway I have from this is that somehow our podcast grew your family by one. Well, not even by one, but how many?
Because he's married and he has 2 kids. So I've got another niece, I've got another nephew, I've got another sister-in-law. It's
because if he didn't have that other avenue to reach out to you, that somebody else, because he thought somebody else will see this and message her.
And you know what? And someone else is going to relate to the story and say, maybe get the courage to go down that avenue. Because you know what? He didn't for a long time, and he got the information he was looking for, and he wanted to do that adventure. And you know what? Those adventures are to make some of the best stories. So if you have those stories, we would love to hear them too.
Absolutely, we would.
But so that I hijacked your microbrew there for a little bit. Apologies.
No worries.
That's what microbrews are all about.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, Meaghan, take it away. And I'm going to actually just hijack some of your wine.
Thank you for sharing that, though, Brittany.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's just recap real quick. So we got Jim Beaumont, Nancy Beaumont living in their modest Somerton Park suburb, Adelaide, South Australian home with the 3 children, Jane, Arna, and Grant. It's just they live close to the Glenlidge Beach, which is a 17-minute walk up the beach from where the Somerton man was found. The 3 children were shy, especially the eldest.
This is where we.
And overall, the picture that emerges of the Beaumont children's home life is that of a typical working class Australian family in the 1960s. They lived in a safe neighborhood.
Until it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. They were loved by their parents and enjoyed a degree of freedom that was common for children at the time.
Were you going to say until they weren't?
I mouthed it.
I thought it. Oh, did you?
Yeah. But I didn't want to say it out loud because that would be disrespectful.
Sorry.
I'm sure they were loved.
I'm sure they
throughout
were,
their
yeah.
life. Yes.
And then some. On January 26, 1966, which is Australia Day, a public holiday in Australia, Jim Beaumont had left early in the morning for a 3-day sales trip to Snowtown, a rural town about 140 kilometers north of Adelaide. Nancy Beaumont, the stay-at-home mom, was at home with her children. Jane, Arna, and Grant asked Nancy if they could go to the Glenlidge Beach the day before, because the day before they had gone with their father and had such a good time. January is midsummer in Australia, which it took me a minute. I'm like writing this and I'm like, man, it'd be really fucking cold to go to the beach in January. But I forgot in Australia.
No, not in Australia.
Midsummer, and I Googled it, and it was estimated that the weather that day was roughly 38.8 degrees Celsius.
Nice.
Actually, too hot.
That is too fucking hot.
Too hot. But if you're at a beach,
exactly.
Great.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
So Nancy agreed to allow the children to go. It was common in those days for children to have more independence and freedom to roam around their neighborhoods
the 60s.
alone. Just to remind you, they're age 9, 7, and 4. The children left, and Nancy expected them to be home by noon that same day. When noon came and went and the 3 children had not returned, Nancy became worried and contacted her husband right away and set out to search the neighborhood for them. She contacted some of her friends, and around 3:00 p.m. That afternoon, Jim Beaumont arrived home early from his sales trip and joined his wife in a search. When they had no luck in locating their 3 missing children, by 5:30 p.m., Nancy and Jim reported Jane, Arna, and Grant missing to the Glenlidge police station. Police and volunteers began searching the beach and the surrounding areas, including the sand dunes, ocean, and nearby buildings for the 3 children. There was no trace to be found of the Beaumont children.
Is this a place where they would have like lifeguards?
I don't believe so,
No.
especially in the 60s.
Yeah.
No.
It's kind of just like a public use area that
yeah,
you're like,
and
at
you know
your own
what?
risk.
It was a public holiday, so it is
yeah.
said that the beach was busy that day. Like busy.
Yeah, it was Australia.
So you'd think that like if they were to drown, somebody would notice.
Yeah, exactly.
But somebody might not notice if they were just...
So if I'm Indigenous and I'm making an Australian accent, that's not offensive, is it?
No.
Okay.
I don't think that... I mean, we all do it.
Yeah.
We don't mean to be offensive. I'm
yeah,
sure
no, I was just random thought. Sorry, ignore me. Continue.
you don't have to be in... I mean... Meaghan's not Indigenous, and she could do an Australian accent. I don't think it would be.
Well, that would be
offensive.
that wouldn't be offensive. Well, Australians are white, and
they are.
white
Yeah, but
people
they still have Indigenous people in
I
Australia.
did not mean to get totally sidetracked here. I apologize.
Yeah.
Just ran. I apologize.
Yeah. Ex-nay on the political nay.
My bad. It was a thought that I should have said inside.
Stop thinking.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
The days and weeks following January 26, 1966, the search intensified, involving hundreds of police officers, volunteers, and even the Australian Army.
Wow.
The news of the 3 missing children garnered significant media attention, both locally and nationally. The newspapers and television broadcasted regular updates on the search. Police interviewed numerous witnesses who claimed to have seen Jane, Arna, and Grant boarding the bus to the beach at 8:45 on January 26th. The beach was just a 23-minute bus ride from the Beaumont's house. The Beaumont's house. Witnesses reported that in the late morning to early afternoon, the three children were seen at the beach playing in the water and the sprinklers at Coley Reserve. It was also noted that they were seen in the company of a tall, fair-haired man in his mid-30s. At lunchtime, which is noon when they were supposed to arrive back home, the children were seen buying snacks at a local cake shop, still in the company of this mysterious fair-haired tall man in his mid-30s. That was like years before.
Oh, that was? I was just going to ask, like, how many years?
Somerton Man.
You covered the Somerton Man.
I know, but I don't remember the year.
I don't remember it either, but it was like a long time ago.
I don't even know what
A
year
long
we're in
time
right
ago.
now.
Okay,
Well,
you can
we'll
figure it out.
At around 12:15, Jane, Arna, and Grant were seen walking away from the beach with that same man. This is the last confirmed sighting of all three children together.
1948.
Long time before.
Yeah, 10 years at least.
The last reported but unconfirmed sighting was at 2:55 p.m. A postman who knew the children well reported that he had seen them walking away from the beach in the direction of their home. This is not a confirmed sighting, and nobody else saw them at that time. But despite the massive search efforts, no concrete leads or evidence were found to indicate the children's whereabouts. And the tall, fair-haired man seen with the children remains unidentified to this day. He is a key figure in the mystery, however, but no one has ever been able to determine who he was or what his intentions were.
Well, and how many tall, fair-haired men are there? If that's like the descriptor that you're going
Australia.
off of.
I was going to say,
A
isn't
fuck
that
ton.
like all of Australia?
And it's a busy time on the
Yeah.
beach. Like,
I
Well, and
know.
how many tourists are you accounting for
Yeah.
that as well?
Exactly.
Yeah.
As the months passed, the police continued to investigate the case of the missing children, following up on various leads and tips from the public. There were numerous reported sightings of the kids in various different locations, but none were ever confirmed. In November 1966, Gerard Creuset, a Dutch psychic, was brought to Australia to assist in the search for the children. He provided several predictions about the children's fate and the locations of their body. He focused on a specific property. The owners of that property were reluctant to excavate their property based on a psychic's claim after the public raised $40,000 to aid in the demolition of the building on that property. The owners relented. They searched it, but no remains nor any evidence of the children were ever found.
did they repair it after?
It was like a condemned building.
Oh.
Yeah, they were going to tear it down anyways. But in 1996, the building that he had identified was undergoing another partial demolition, and the owners allowed a full search of the property at that time. Once again, no trace of them were ever found. 2 years after the disappearance of the children, Nancy and Jim received 2 letters. One was supposedly written by Jane, and at the time, handwriting experts actually believed that it was her that had written it. And
Really?
Another letter came from a man who said that he had appointed himself the guardian of the children, and was willing to hand them back to their parents at a designated meeting place. They drove to the designated meeting place along with undercover detectives, but nobody showed up. Sometime later, a third letter arrived, also appearing to be written by Jane, stating that the man had discovered the disguised detective in their presence and had decided to keep the children because they had betrayed his trust. There was no further letters ever sent, and in 1992, fingerprint technology had improved, and the author was identified as a 41-year-old man who at the time was a teenager, and he wrote the letters as a joke.
Ha ha.
So
ha.
fucking funny.
Why do people do this shit?
I know, and because of the time
And
that
then
had
better
elapsed,
do.
he was actually not charged
What?
with an offense.
That's why people do that.
Yeah.
Is because there's no repercussions.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
There
I guess
would have been,
consequences.
if they
but it was
catch
because
it,
the time passed. He was
if they
41
catch it in
now.
the time, then it's
I
interfering with the
guess,
police
yeah,
investigation.
there's the whole, like,
But
what's
I mean,
that?
it's
What's that
basically
called?
a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
There's that, what's it called when you've only got so
Statute of
Statute of
limitation.
limitations.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for. Okay, continues.
Over the years, there has been occasional renewed interest in the case, with new leads and theories emerging, including abduction, murder, and even the possibility that the children may have wandered off and died accidentally. Some
But
recent,
where are they then?
I know,
Yeah, you
some
would-
recent theories have focused on a specific individual
That
as a
tall,
potential suspect.
thin,
Fair-haired
lanky,
man.
fair-haired man.
Actually,
Have they
the
ever
man
done like a
named
composite
Harry
sketch?
Phipps. There was none, but
No.
well, I mean, there's a really terrible one, like a 12-year-old drew it. Like it's not. No, it's nothing good. The man was named Harry Phipps, and he became a prominent person of interest in more recent years. He was a wealthy businessman who lived near the Beaumonts and owned a factory in North Plymonton. Two young brothers had come forward claiming that as young boys, they weren't young anymore, but this is years later, they came forward and said that when they were young, Phipps had paid them to dig a large hole at his factory around the time of the disappearance.
That's suspicious.
This
Just a
raised
little sus.
suspicions
Yeah.
that the children might be buried there. Several excavations have been conducted at this now former factory site. In November 2013, excavation was initiated in the back of the backside of the factory, and further excavation at a slightly different location on the site took place in February 2018. But no human remains were found and no evidence that the children had been there. However, some believe that those previous searches didn't dig deep enough or cover the right areas.
So, do we know how deep they
No. Hayden Phipps, the estranged son of Harry Phipps, has publicly accused his father of abducting and murdering the Beaumont children. He claims his father was violent and an abusive man. Despite the suspicions and Hayden Phipps' accusations, there's no concrete evidence to definitively link Harry to the disappearances, and he had actually died in 2004.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, if you're going to accuse somebody of something just because you have a bad relationship with them, it's like, on what basis? Like, what basis did he have to accuse his estranged father of this?
It was after the other two came forward and said that they had dug that hole, that he was like, I think my dad might have done it, because he was an abusive piece of shit and he was super sus.
Okay, gotcha.
So he died in 2004, taking any potential secrets with him. 6 decades later. And actually, this is going to take place tomorrow for us. On February 22nd, 2025, excavation will begin once again at the former factory site.
That is neat.
Yeah, where it is believed the owner, Harry Phipps, kidnapped, murdered, and buried the 3 children 59 years ago.
Here's hoping some answers are found.
Yeah. The search will revisit 2 sites previously excavated, and they're going to go a little bit deeper this time, along with a 3rd never before searched location. And it is expected to take place over the next couple of weeks. The independent MP, Frank Pangalo, who helped organize the dig, said, quote, "This search will be the last opportunity to search the area where those closest to the case believe their bodies were buried before new industrial or residential developments are built on the site," unquote.
And then anything cemented in for life.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. God. Like, could you imagine though? Like finding something and being like, thank God we did this. Could you imagine building like an entire community on top of this? And just think about it.
Yeah.
How many communities are already built on shit like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's not go there.
He also did say, quote, "While we are hopeful the new search will help solve the mystery, it's also important to discount the site as the children's burial ground if we can."
It's either is this it or is it not it? Let's figure this out. Let's put the effort into it.
Yeah.
We will definitely keep you guys posted
100%.
on the excavation over the next few weeks. And fingers crossed, the family and public will finally get some answers on this complex puzzle with many missing pieces.
They deserve
and
it.
The truth
You
about
guys,
what happened to Jane, Arna, and Grant Beaumont will finally be revealed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, everybody.
Yeah.
Keep you guys posted, but it would be amazing if the families could get some kind of closure or answers. Maybe stop either way, stop obsessing about that location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And again, the reason that bring it back to the Somerton man is because we know that after so many years, I think it was last year or the year before, last year, they finally identified him.
Yeah.
So here's hoping that we can solve another
Australia.
Yes. Go science. Go science.
Australia is getting shit done.
So here's hoping that, and this also brings us to something that Christy had asked me to look up today.
So, and I'll segue for you because
I didn't look it up.
You didn't? Okay. So my question was, based on previous discussions about, digging and stuff. So we know that Wabkinu of Winnipeg, Manitoba, or Manitoba in general, has, the last time we updated on this was Meaghan and I, and they had this 5-step kind of approach to this. And I think they were on step 3.
Yes.
But yeah, we were just kind of curious as to, and I don't think there is any updates.
I don't think so either.
At this point,
I haven't seen any news.
If there is, then they're not saying anything quite yet.
Yeah.
But it's something that we will we'll continue to look into. And this was a case that Brittany covered initially. And what can you explain that?
Yeah, it was the Winnipeg serial killer of Indigenous women's. They're searching the junkyards. Landfills.
Yeah.
Thank you. Search landfills, junkyards.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got so it's a big project in Winnipeg to look into finding the women and to finding more bodies. And Jeremy Sabicki or whatever
Skibicki,
whatever that fucker's name is,
was found guilty.
He was found guilty, and anyway, he's and honestly, he's not going to be the last serial killer of Indigenous women and peoples. We're going to be seeing it a lot more, and especially when this whole search to the landfills thing comes into full fruition. It's going to open a whole big, ugly, gross ass can of worms, but it's a can that very desperately needs to be opened.
And I'm just so happy that one of his biggest promotions for himself to get elected, as what's it called when you're not a prime minister, but you're running a province.
Mayor? Not mayor.
That's city.
Oh my God.
Provincial, whatever. We're not political people, and I'm so sorry.
I'm not.
And there's been wine. But one of his big things was I want to search the landfills and I want to make this a priority. Because he is Indigenous and he had been through the fucking ringer and back. This guy has had a shitty upbringing and he took himself from absolute bottom to the fucking top, to the fact that like he's running a
Start
province.
from the
He's
bottom,
a
now we're
provincial
here.
leader. Like that's incredible. And he understands the the tribulations of people who don't have enough, and especially the Indigenous community that doesn't have enough. And so it's just we're really looking for really looking forward to updating you guys
Yeah.
on
Which we
what's
will.
happening with that.
Yes.
If there is any updates to share,
And
But-
we'll keep you posted on more
Yeah.
cases coming
Yeah.
out as well, because 110% there will be more cases.
Yeah.
From
So
this.
just to recap real quick, there is actually no updates on the Winnipeg landfill,
Mhm.
like, other than the one that we covered in December, which, to remind everybody, they are searching for the remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron. At the Prairie Greens landfill north of Winnipeg. This is actually something I don't think that we mentioned. They are on what they're saying is stage 4 right now.
Stage 4.
So basically, they are saying that Harris and Myron were assumed to have been dumped at the privately run Prairie Green landfill.
Not
2
the same
years
landfill as the other
ago.
two.
No.
Yeah.
They were killed by Jeremy Skibicki and left in a dumpster near his apartment in Winnipeg. The
Dismembered.
garbage collection contract for the dumpster led to the Prairie Green landfill,
Mhm.
while the targeted location within the landfill is based on the GPS information obtained from the garbage truck. So Skibicki was convicted in July of 2024 for 4 counts of first-degree murder in the killing of 4 women in total. In addition to Harris and Myron, he was found guilty in the death of Rebecca Contois, and the still unidentified woman who has been given the name Buffalo Woman by
Yeah.
community leaders.
Yeah.
And for anybody wanting to hear that episode by Brittany here, that's episode
me.
29 called A Serial Killer in Winnipeg. If you guys, you are our Patreons, you guys love us so much that you paid $3 a month to
Thank
see
you.
this
Thank
content.
you.
And
We appreciate you.
we do. And if you can please share us, just our regular everyday podcast with everybody, and then they can make the decision to decide if they would like extra content like this. Please do. Word of mouth goes a long way.
Long way.
But you can also share us on all your socials, give us a mention,
Yes.
give us a rating on wherever you listen. That helps a lot as well.
Yep.
And for
Absolutely.
our few Patreon members out there, we are now on Twitter/X.
Ooh.
So go follow us on
We're getting all
there.
sexy on the
Murder Crew
X-y.
MC. So check us out.
Yeah, and I know we've said this quite a few times, but you can email us. Please email us. I think we've sent you a couple of couple of ideas of what you can send to us that we'd love to hear from you. That email is homebrewmurdercrew@gmail.com.
And if you know anybody who has a story that would like to share it on a platform like ours,
Yes.
please
Let them know.
send them our way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much again.
Okay.
Meaghan, thank you. For
Yes,
this one. It
thanks.
was
Great episode.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Great. Sorry. MICROBREW.
You're welcome.
Anyways.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.